Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Today I'm going to make a video about how our thoughts and emotions create diseases. About 2 weeks ago, I found out that my ex-partner passed away, and I knew he was sick. We were separated for about a year and a half, and I knew that at some point that was going to happen. But yet, we're not really fully prepared how we're going to feel when we actually get the news. Now, together with that news came a lot of information about, his state of mind, his emotional state in the last 3 months. And that sort of put me in a place where I felt a lot of pain. And it's kind of something that surprised me because in the last year and a half, I have done a lot of work to work with my shadow side. I did plant medicine. There's videos about it. So I thought that I was doing really good. I was already in that place where, I was okay with the separation. And I felt like I had learned great lessons. And knowing that he was sick, I knew that at some point that news was going to come. And yet, here I was, struggling once again emotionally. And that sort of helped me see how much emotions we can hold. It also helped me see that our body is made out of all these different layers of energy. And, like sometimes as we feel deep, as we have strong emotions, those layers can kind of hold in the information. And if you don't open them up, I don't think you can actually open them up all at once. I think you sometimes open some and then other ones close. So when you're releasing emotions that are lower frequency, that can take a while because we're made out of all of these layers and they don't open up all at once. So that was very, very clear to me this time around because I had started prior to receiving the news of his passing a cleanse. I do twice a year a detox to help to clear my body, and I've done a lot of different ones. But I'm always looking for newer information, helping refine the things that I've done before. So this time around, I had, listened to this guy who has a channel. His style of detoxifying was a little bit deeper and more intense. So I decided, I'm going to, incorporate some of his ideas into mine. So on my fourth day, that's when I received the news. And then, I started getting all kinds of information about what happened to my ex, in the last few months. We were separated for a year and a half, and there was, we were not in awful terms, like I was able to work a lot of it out. This is why I chose to do plant medicine, because I wanted to work with my shadow side and to also be able to work, what happened this time around in my relationship, why things, went the way they went. So I was feeling like I was doing everything in my power to become responsible for my choices and to also accept that my part in the, developing and the unfolding of the relationship. So I thought I was doing great. There's still, an aspect of the mind, because I think the biggest part that, we struggle with is with the, the mind cutting through the attachments. But emotionally, I thought I was doing really good. So here comes the news, and I'll tell you, you're not really ever prepared to receive a news like that, especially with someone that you love. And even though we were apart, I still loved him, and I still do. So it hit me quite hard. But what, was bothering me was some of the choices that he made during the last 6 months. And, he had time to say goodbye to all of his loved ones, and he didn't call me. So that made me feel, like I didn't feel like I didn't deserve that. So that was why I was hurting. So imagine I start a cleanse, and in the cleanse, one of the priorities is that you get a lot of rest and that you don't have strong emotions because you're releasing old ones. Part of a cleanse is not just to let go of toxic waste in your body, but the toxic waste, it also is representing a state of mind, because we are not just material, physical matter. We're also vibrational. Food is another form of vibration that we interact with. And it helps us either to regain more energy or more fuel or not. So when we're eating healthy foods, our state of mind, it's more clear, and the vibration or the frequency that we're working with is better, because we're choosing to eat certain foods that are the body's going to take them in and work very little and get more energy. When we are in a state of mind opposite, we tend to choose foods that are lower energy. So the body has to work harder at separating what's not good to get the good one. And then that's when we become sluggish and sick and all of those things. But we're talking here about emotions. So, instead of just being able to rest and not let things get to me, I now receive all of these emotions that I couldn't run away from. And that put me in a vibrational place where I could feel all of these emotions of hurt, disappointment. I was not angry, but I was very disappointed. It kind of likes to touch the self-worth. In my case, because I had done already enough work and I've learned to love all of me. If that would come, it wouldn't stay long enough, because, I knew what to do. I knew how to respond to that. But still, there was a lot of sadness, and I did a lot of crying. So as I was moving all of those energies and expressing them through my heart center, I could feel how my frequency of energy changed. And my immune system, of course, debilitated, creating an imbalance in my environment, and it led into this awful cold. It didn't start it as, what it played out later. It didn't start it with the cough. I would say that for 3 days, I was sleeping most of the day. It just happened that I was off from work during that week. So I found myself sleeping and just waking up to go to the bathroom and to drink some sort of herbal tea that I would make myself. I had to ask help to my mom to make me a chicken broth soup. No vegetables, just the broth. And, I wanted something warm. And then I would make juices and teas. But I would spend most of the day sleeping. So for 3 days I was sleeping. And what was happening was that as I was drinking the liquids, not eating solids, and I was dealing with the emotions, my body was channeling and expressing those emotions, where, of course, it turned into a cold. And it began in my throat, which it related to, me not being able to express certain things to him personally, even though I felt like I had already brought everything that I had to say. But the fact that he was not able to come to terms with certain things. I mean, it's a little bit more complicated than what I'm sharing with you. But I feel like it's not necessary to go into all the details about my relationship. I think more I'm just explaining why, my body decided to, the frequency as it lowered and I was doing a detox, I got the cold. So as I slept those 3 days and drank a lot of liquids, of course, my lungs were the ones who were receiving the punch. And they were not happy. I had pain in my kidneys, my lungs. I'm still recovering from it. But the one choice that I made, having understood that all of those emotions were what was creating for my body to crash. So here I'm cleansing, and now I'm putting through my body all of this very lower frequency emotions, that I was not going to suppress it, I was not going to medicate it, that I was going to take an opportunity to release everything in a natural way, and that I was going to just nurture my body, one, with emotions of love and acceptance, two, accept that this person that I care about had made his choices and that I needed to be okay with that. That three, I had done everything in my power, which I did, and that gave me peace of mind. And if I was not meant to be in that person's time of passing, it's because I was not meant to be. And fourth, just to sort of let my body naturally recover its own strength. Not to become impatient or aggravated. Because, when you start coughing and coughing and coughing to the point where your muscle starts hurting, you start feeling kind of desperate and impatient, and you want to get rid of things. You want to make sure that, you take something to ease the discomfort. And what I decided this time around was just to be very patient with my body. Especially if my mind was so determined to be focused on those emotions and those ideas that you thought that, is what I should have been, to now let my body, release it without my mind's intervention. Our mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be our worst enemy because it always wants to fix, it always wants to correct. And there are times when the body doesn't need the help of the mind. And if it does, it's not by having to do anything or creating more thoughts about or ideas of what it's needed to do. It's more about just stepping back and relax and enjoy the ride. And that's what I did. So it's been, let's see, I started my cleanse on the 13th of April. And I have been able to do liquid fast for 3-4 days. I've incorporated all raw food and fruits. There are days where I just do water and don't do any heavy duty food. And one of the things that I noticed is that, depending on my emotional state, depends, of what I do. I've been very, very lucky that I was able to have quite a bit of time off so that my body could get the proper rest. I still feel like I'm not completely over the cold. I'm getting acupuncture. I've gotten 3 treatments. I got cuppings done. Anything that I could help the body release all the emotions. So there are times when emotionally I feel really good. And there are times when I feel I would say quite sensitive. I don't feel the emotions that I was having in the beginning about my partner's loss. That's left me. I'm at peace with it. But there's moments where I feel sensitivity. emotional sensitive. I also feel like my body is not yet at the point where the energy level is where I like it to be, because I feel like there's mucus coming out of my brain, my ears, stuff like, I get this itching feeling in my throat, but I can tell that there's some toxicity that has settled there that's causing the itching. There is sometimes a little bit of heaviness in my solar plex and my heart center, but I feel like that's related to the emotions. And I've also seen how whatever was happening with my partner, it triggered certain memories of other things, other relationships in the past. And it's connected to those memories, so I'm also purging them. So it's like I'm going through this major purge. And the cold is just the effect of, the energy that's been sort of programmed in my vibrational body. So I see it as something very positive. I feel very good about not being able to have to take any medications or any cough drops or anything like that. I can feel how my body is saying, thank you for doing that. There's been memories about my childhood, because I used to get quite sick. I used to have bronchitis, and I don't know what it is about people having such a difficult time hearing people cough. We've become so annoyed with natural things, and one of them is like, you cough and people, they want to right away, they want to give you something to fix it. And it's one of the ways that where your lungs is able to release whatever garbage is there. So I've learned to accept the cough as part of the healing process, and I have not allowed myself to be annoyed with it, even though there are times where at nighttime my body's muscles would just jump on their own. It's like the natural reflexes, because I was coughing so much that those muscles that I normally don't use were activated, and they just had a mind of their own. But this is where, doing massage is helpful. I could have probably gone to the spa and get some oxygen, but I just felt like I wanted to be in my own environment and be able to rest as much as I wanted to. So that helped. But going through all of this, it helped me realize how our thoughts matter. They make matter. And if we sort of get stuck in one way of thinking, in one particular thought, depending on the frequency of that thought, well, eventually it gets expressed throughout your whole body. And this is how we get sick. And cold is no different. So it was something that I manifested right away. And of course, it was tied to, emotions that I still had from my partner, obviously, that I needed to release. And I did. So it's been really an amazing time of really sounding sick and not being probably in my highest form of energy, or my, feeling the highest form of energy, and not feeling the sickness in the same way that I used to feel them before. I've been able to also know better what are the plants that I can use to help my body, because you're not just, using plants to help purge the body, but you're also using others to help nourish the body. So I found that to be quite helpful. With lemon, I was doing these lemon drinks mixed with grapefruit and half an orange. So I would do 3 lemons with half of grapefruit and half of orange. And my liver felt quite good, but you have to keep in mind that when you look at the pH of the lemon and all of these fruits, that is more acidic. I felt good drinking it, but I don't know that it's good for everyone. I think it's better to do vinegar with a little bit of water and honey. Maybe the vinegar has that, because the vinegar has the ability to balance the pH. And just drink a lot of water. So one of the things that was really good is just to keep hydrating my body. And I think that just being able to do that, I was not able to feel a lot of the effects that I would normally feel. I mean, the sleeping part, I think the body naturally knew, like, I'm not dealing with the best of energy, so let's just rest this off. And that was very good. So having that time off was really perfect in this type of situation. So so now I think, out of all of this, I decided that I was going to do a 5 water fasting. It sort of led me to, all of this stuff that I've been going on is led me into that, of that, having that desire to do water fast. And I think I'm going to tape every day and see how things go so that I can share with all of you. But just remember, folks, that your emotions is the translation of your thoughts. And that your thoughts, if they continue to repeat them, or you hold on to them, and you have that, whatever conversation you had with your partner, or whatever thing your boss told you, or whatever disagreement you had with your kids, and you keep that in your head, that your emotions is what it's translating the vibration of those thoughts. And then your body does the same thing. And this is how we weaken our immune system, and this is how we create colds. And normally, whatever conditions we have, whatever symptoms we have of imbalance, it relates to an emotion. So my throat was related to my inability to be able to express certain things in that moment with certain people, and also with my ex. Now with my ex, I had felt like I had completed what I needed to do, but there were certain things that could have been, sorted out in the end that he chose not to, and it left quite a mess. And now I was in the middle of the mess, dealing with it. And I just felt like I didn't have to, because he had made a choice, a year ago, that I didn't have to. So that's where it came. And then, of course, the lungs was just from the grieving process, the emotions of feeling sad and hurt and disappointed. So that affected, my lungs. So imagine, you got to look at, like, if you have a condition, where is it at? Because, according to Chinese traditional medicine, all of our organs are associated with a particular emotions. So it's good for you to know that. So I knew very well that this was something that I had, created on my own, and I just allow myself to heal naturally. So this video is not to imply that you have to follow my way, or that you shouldn't go to a doctor if you feel like you need to. Because I know my body well, and I understand how my body works, I was able to do it this way, and I'm glad that I did. So for those of you that are healthier, and you feel that you can actually go through the process of healing yourself without suppressing or bringing inorganic medications into your body, well, here's an opportunity. You not only heal the body, you not only heal the vibrational part of you, but you also heal your emotions, and you heal at a deeper level. You're not just healing on the surface. You're not just healing the physical aspect of it. You're healing every aspect of it. So that's, to me, complete healing. That's the way it should be. That's the way that it was meant to be. I know a lot of times people say, well, I don't have a lot of time to take off from work. But the reality is that even if you're at work feeling sick, what you're doing is whatever experience your physical body is having in that moment, you're making it worse. You are. And even when your cold goes away, that you think you have healed, the memory of that cold is still in your body. And this is why a lot of times people, as they get older, they struggle more and more and more with viruses, because they probably were not able to heal a cold they had when they were a kid, because they were giving, a lot of things to help fix it. But in reality, they didn't. They just left that little mark in their, vibrational body, or their DNA, whatever you like to call it. I like to call it a vibrational body. So then now you're growing up with that little scar, and that scar, imagine how many colds we have, how many strong emotions we deal with, and it starts scarring our vibrational body. So just know that your vibrations, your emotions, they turn into energy, and they are energy, and your body receives them in that way too. So it's not just physical. Alright guys, I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions, you can always email me at createharmonywithlove@gmail.com, and I look forward to see you in my next one. Thank you for listening.